two guys who don't know anything about anime. This is Anime for Amateurs.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Anime for Amateurs. This is Spencer, and
I'm Josh.
we are about to dive back into another wonderful episode. If you watched last time, we did Hunter x Hunter. If you have not seen that episode, it is on our YouTube channel, The Holy Goof. Check it out. Wonderful episode. We really enjoyed what we saw, and we're looking forward to moving on.
So this week, Spencer, we are going to be checking out One Punch Man, which is one I'm very excited about. This is one that, doing the research for this and creating the list, which is top 10 anime for amateurs, you can check out at theholygoof.com. When I was researching this one, this is the one that I was most excited to watch. It's actually based on a webcomic created by an artist called One. And he started writing that in 2009, and it blew up in 2015. Madhouse Studio picked it up. They actually are behind like Death Note, and they've actually produced Hunter x Hunter. And One, the artist that created this, also created Mob Psycho 100, which we'll be checking out later in the series. So One Punch Man tells the story of a guy named Saitama. I believe that's correct. Yeah, we actually looked it up this time.
Saitama.
And Saitama is a superhero who, like the title of the show would suggest, can knock foes out with a single punch. And this leads him to be very depressed. He has no meaning in his life because he can defeat any villain. So he's on this never-ending quest to find a worthy opponent.
Yeah, that actually seems like exactly the life I live.
just out here looking for a worthy opponent.
Me and Saitama are kindred spirits.
Totally. All right, man. Well, do you want to go ahead and get into it?
Let's get into One Punch Man. I'm excited to see what Saitama has to offer and get into it. Let's do it.
This is the part where the guys sit back and watch an anime, but we play it fast because of copyright.
All right, so that was One Punch Man. Wow.
Was One Punch Man.
Yeah, it was. What a wild ride. Holy
That
cow.
was a roller coaster of excitement.
Yeah. I feel like that was a whole season of a show packed into a first episode.
It felt like it. I mean, how many villains did we have in one episode?
I think he defeated 5 villains, or at least 5 villains.
Do you know what? I know that you're not really too familiar with Dragon Ball Z, but that's at least 2 seasons of Dragon Ball Z.
Really?
It takes like 1 season for Goku to defeat 1 villain in that show. This was a whole new level.
That first villain looked like, I don't know the characters from Dragon Ball Z at all, but he looked like a character from Dragon Ball Z, no?
He looked like Piccolo. He was like, I think he was purple, and his name was Vaccine, which is funny because while we were watching, we were like, is this Corona?
Yeah, totally. Totally. Definitely a very like current villain.
Oh, totally. And unlike this, he was destroyed in about 5 seconds.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so let's get right into rating this thing. For those of you who haven't seen this before, we rate based off of 4 categories. That's animation, characters, plot, and watchability. We rate them 1 through 5 and then give the piece a total score out of 20. So far, the score to beat is 16 out of 20 for Hunter x Hunter. So let's see how One Punch Man stacks up.
Yes, was very excited. I was itching to start this review like 75% through this episode.
Same.
So let's dive into our first category.
Cool. So animation.
Animation.
Initial thoughts. I mean, the opening few frames were beautiful. In a similar way that Hunter x Hunter, the landscapes were beautiful. All the nature inspired landscapes. The cityscapes in this I thought were really stood out to me.
What I really enjoyed were the fight scenes. And because, and you're more of a, but a little bit more about like, art and drawing than I do, Josh. It felt to me like their whole style of drawing changed during the fight scenes. Like it was like it was like really comic book like, and it was like
Totally.
there was two different artists. Like, you know what I mean?
Totally. I picked up on that also, Spence, and I'm willing to bet. I haven't read the webcomic, but I'm willing to bet that the animation style change was to reference the initial webcomic drawings. It broke down into like straight black and white line drawings at some points, and also at some points there were completely still frames, which normally I would count as points against it because it's a little bit of lazy animating. But I think in this instance, it was to kind of pay homage to the fact that this was originally a still comic.
Homage. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked that up too, because it was like it was so comic book like, and that's what I really enjoyed about it too. Just that frame by frame kind of style that it had, and it was so different from like the artistic way that it began, and then when you see Saitama in these really kind of emotional scenes where he's kind of walking or like sitting in his house in the bath, it's like so different from when he starts fighting. One
Totally.
scene I like really enjoyed with the animation was when he was fighting those underground people.
The
And as he was fighting, subterraneans, when he was fighting them, just it's so fast, but you could see his shirt slowly ripping off,
Yeah.
like in different frames, and it was so fast. But the way they did it was really cool. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give my animation score a 5.
Spence, I'm also going to give the animation a 5 out of 5. Initially, because of the way that the main character is drawn, I thought this was going to be like a very low resolution animation, but it was actually, that was almost on purpose to make, to kind of play around with you. So yeah, 5 out of 5 for me too.
5 out of 5. And just one other quick point, like it just feels like two different artists. Like when that happens, like when you're seeing Saitama in these situations where he's like in his own head, just kind of, being introspective. It's like a different person is drawing that to where he's fighting. It's like a whole, and I think those are the two different characteristics that they are trying to make for this character, which leads us into character. Let's do it.
Beautiful segue.
You like that
Beautiful
transition?
segue,
You like that
Spence. That
segue?
was, oh, that was great. Yeah. So to your point, the on the surface, again, just like his drawing, the character seems a little two-dimensional because it's like the entire plot is I'm too powerful for my own good. Life is boring. Now that seems like there's not a lot of room for character development there, but it actually was pretty deep.
Even though his struggle is not too serious, it's he's too powerful and it hurts so much.
Right.
I really want to challenge. It's not too deep, but it's the character Saitama. You just love those dynamics about him. I really enjoyed just the beginning of him being a guy who just got fired and then helping a kid and realizing, I'm just gonna be a hero. Then why not? It's just so crazy how that, like, I'm just gonna be a hero, and it's funny because there's no, like, from what we know right now, there's no like superhero influx of power like a spider bite or
Right.
nuclear. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like he just trained and got really strong.
Yeah.
I really like that about it. It's interesting.
Now, all that being said, I will say that there's, aside from a great main character that you're very invested in, I saw no side characters at all. Even, I mean, the villains,
The villains. That's it.
the villains were easily likable. It's funny. This is a very meta show. Like in his initial confrontation with the first villain, the villain even makes fun of his backstory, saying his backstory is shit, basically. And I thought that was a really funny way to poke fun at the fact that, yeah, there really isn't a lot going on backstory-wise. Like you say, there's no reason for him to have these powers. He just kind of is bored, which he says a few
Yes.
times. Like, he just does this for fun.
Yes.
So, all that being said, while they are doing it on purpose, me personally, I'm going to give the characters a 3 out of 5 because they're self-aware that they're not doing a lot of character development, but that's not a total excuse for not doing it.
Yes. You took the word out of of my mouth, the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say self-aware. The characters are super self-aware.
Yeah.
And it makes for amazing comedic moments, but there's no depth right now. I do not feel sorry for Saitama. I don't have any connection to him whatsoever. Who knows? I don't know how many seasons this has, but I think a couple. So I feel like eventually they might have to get more in depth and also bring in some side characters. So right now I'm going to give it a 2. I don't have any emotional connection to the character or characters. I think that the comedic element is amazing. But that's more of a plot thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Developmental thing. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 2. I'm going to lay low on this one for now.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's talk about plot.
There's a premise. We know he became powerful and now he's too strong and nobody can mess with him. That's kind of the plot. I mean, even like the basic superhero concept is normal guy has experience, something happens to him, he gets powers, and this is what happened. This is just like normal guy decides to get powers.
Yeah.
And now he's too strong. It's like a whole character arc happened in literally 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, with that said, there is no plot. So, 1.
Okay.
I don't know. 1.
Yeah. Now I'm going to disagree with you here just because
Disagreements.
this is definitely a show for the nihilists and cynics. And for that reason, for me, it's kind of a break away from a lot of the very basic plots we see in a lot of storytelling nowadays. In a lot of the Marvel movies and everything, you can guess where so many stories are going now,
which I appreciate. I appreciate that fact about it.
Yeah. So for that reason, while I agree there's not a lot of plot, I will say that I enjoy it because of that. So I don't know if this is breaking our own rules or not, but I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 for plot.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
I hear you on that. There is no plot, but at the same time, if there's no plot, then explain to me why I can't wait to see what happens next. You know what I mean?
Transition, watchability,
great. Man, you're killing it with the segues. The segue game is on point today.
Josh, you're throwing me the alley-oop. I'm just dunking it, man.
So yeah, watchability. I mean, I'm full disclosure. It's very high for me. As I just said, I didn't want to stop to record this outro. I wanted to keep watching right away.
Yeah, I mean, and Netflix was beginning to play it, and I was like, "Oh, can we?" No, but yeah, it's. I mean, I don't think there's. If you watch all this video and all the ratings that we've done so far, and the way we've been talking about it, there's nothing to hide here. This is a 5 for me. I want to see more fight scenes. I want to see more Saitama. I want to see more characters being brought in. I want to know if somebody's ever going to kick his ass.
Yeah.
There's just so much to want from this, to see if plot develops, and I really want to see more characters. So yeah, 5.
So yeah, watchability is very high for me. This seems right in the vein of the stuff I like to watch. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. All right, so let's tally up the total scores then. We have, for animation, we have a 5 out of 5. For characters, we have an average score of 2.5 out of 5. For plot, we have an average score of 3 out of 5. And for watchability, we have 5 out of 5. That brings us to a total of 15.5 out of 20. Almost caught Hunter x Hunter there, but not quite.
Hunter x Hunter edged it for the plot. Hunter x Hunter edged it because of the plot.
It did. There's something to be said for just good old-fashioned storytelling, which Hunter x Hunter did, that One Punch Man didn't.
I'm actually surprised that Hunter x Hunter won. I'm surprised, but hey, if you wanna throw in that intro, then it might have the edge.
With the intro, it probably eked past it with the intro.
The intro probably got it over.
Totally.
But super enjoyable. I can't wait to continue watching.
Definitely. Well, that has been Anime for Amateurs.
One Punch Man.
One Punch Man. Join us next time. We're going to be covering Sword Art Online. Very excited for that one too.
I hear good things.
Definitely. Don't forget, you can check the whole list out at theholygoof.com, Anime for Amateurs Top 10 list. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you can catch every episode.
This has been Anime for Amateurs. We cannot wait to see you next time. Sword Art Online.
Peace.
Peace.